Hi everyone, Michael Balesta here. I will get into the Browns and Jets from last Thursday in a few minutes. First, I want to correct myself from last week's video. The Tribe clinched the division at 6:21 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday the 15th, not 7:21 p.m., so my apology. Last Tuesday, the Indians began a three-game set on Ontario Street and Carnegie Avenue against the visiting Chicago White Sox. Looking at the MLB app for recaps, Cleveland began the scoring in the bottom of the second. After Josh Donaldson walked with one out, Melky Cabrera hit his 14th double on the left side to make it 1-0. After Yonder Alonso got hit by a pitch by Carlos Rodon, Yan Gomes got a base hit in the same direction as Cabrera did to double the Indians' lead. Jason Kipnis led the bottom of the fifth off with his 16th home run of the season. It triggered a rally. Francisco Lindor singled. Two batters later, Jose Ramirez was hit by a pitch and would later swipe his 33rd stolen base to get in scoring position. It set up Yandy Diaz, who singled to center field, to score two to make it 5-0. Pitcher Corey Kluber had enough run support, but did concede long balls to Daniel Palka and Omar Narvaez in the sixth. In the top of the seventh, Ryan Lamar doubled, then reached third base on a groundout by Yoan Moncada. Two batters later, Yolmer Sanchez got his 32nd double of the year to score Lamar to make it 5-3. Kluber then struck out Tim Anderson to get out of the inning. Corey then worked around a Narvaez single and walked to Matt Davidson in the eighth by retiring Lamar. Andrew Miller got the final three outs to get his second save. Kluber went to 19-7 after striking out 11 batters in a fast-moving game of 2 hours and 25 minutes. Carlos Rodon went 7 innings, allowed 7 hits to fall to 6-6. Wednesday, Carlos Carrasco and Dylan Covey had a good pitcher's duel. Carrasco recorded 11 strikeouts, allowing only 4 hits and 1 run in more than 6 innings of work, while Covey only allowed 2 hits despite allowing 3 walks. Daniel Palka got his 26th home run in the sixth to give Chicago a 1-0 lead. It stood until the bottom of the ninth. Josh Donaldson reached on a single. Rajai Davis came in to pinch run at first. After the White Sox made a pitching change, Yandy Diaz pinch hit for Yonder Alonso, and the decision worked, as his base hit put 2 runners aboard with nobody out. Greg Allen then took Diaz's spot at first base to run for him. After an unsuccessful bunt pop-out by Melky Cabrera, Chicago sent in pitcher Ian Hamilton. Hamilton hit Yan Gomes to load the bases. The stage was set for Jason Kipnis, whose 17th home run was a grand slam to give the Indians a dramatic 4-1 victory. Oliver Perez got credit for his first win to go to 1-1. Caleb Frary dropped to 0-1. In the series finale Thursday, the Indians fell behind as Avisail Garcia hit an RBI single to score Yoan Moncada against Josh Tomlin in the first. Moncada would add a double to his first inning single an inning later to score 2 more runs. In the top of the third, Omar Narvaez launched his 9th home run to make it 4-0. In the bottom of the frame, Cleveland was able to get to pitcher James Shields with back-to-back solo homers by Francisco Lindor and Michael Brantley. The score remained 4-2 until the bottom of the eighth. After Francisco Lindor tripled off of reliever Aaron Bummer to start the half inning, he scored on a wild pitch to trim the deficit. After Brantley watched Lindor score, he hit a single to left field. Jose Ramirez struck out. As Edwin Encarnacion faced new pitcher Rob Scahill, Brantley stole his 11th base, then got to third on a wild pitch. Encarnacion would draw a walk, which led to the entrance of Frary on the mound as Davis was summoned to pinch run for Edwin. Josh Donaldson reached first on a walk to load the bases. Yandy Diaz went down on strikes to leave the inning up to Melky Cabrera, and he took ball 4 to tie the game. Brandon Barnes ran for Cabrera, but Jason Kipnis could not extend the 8th inning as he popped out. Brad Hand got through a turbulent 9th inning, and the same was said for Adam Cimber in the 10th, but he was unable to throw a scoreless 11th. Yolmer Sanchez doubled to lead off and would later score from third on Matt Davidson's single to right with 2 outs, giving the White Sox a 5-4 lead. Hector Santiago hit Eric Haas to start the bottom of the 11th, but Lindor, Brantley, and Ramirez were retired in order to end the game. Santiago, with the win, upped his mark to 6-3, while Cimber fell to 3-8. Friday, the Indians welcomed the Red Sox to town. Sam Travis got his first home run in the third to give Boston a 1-0 lead, but Donaldson responded with his 7th long ball in the fourth off of Chris Sale to tie the score. After Yandy Diaz hit and Heath Hembree stepping in for Chris Sale, Yan Gomes drove in his 15th homer to make it 3-1. A sacrifice by Ramirez in the next inning against Bobby Pointer was deep enough to get Lindor in from third. The Red Sox were able to get some hits off of Shane Bieber. In the sixth, Rafael Devers went deep to right center field. In the next inning, Brock Holt and Blake Swihart each hit singles with one out. After a wild pitch moved the runners up 90 feet, Travis doubled to center to square the game at 4. Two batters later, Zhu Wei Lin's hit gave the road team the lead. Neil Ramirez came to pitch for the Indians after Brandon Phillips continued the hit parade. Devers would add a single to make it 6-4. Cleveland answered in the bottom of the seventh as Jose Ramirez doubled to left field. Lynn finished the scoring in the ninth with his first homer off of Dan Otero, and Craig Kimbrell got his 42nd save with a 1-2-3 bottom of the ninth. Matt Barnes got the win to go to 6-3, while Shane Bieber went to 10-5. Saturday, the Indians played in another dramatic contest. Gomes and Lindor each drove in a run in the second inning for a 2-0 Cleveland advantage. Devers got his 19th home run in the top of the third to pull one back for Boston. Donaldson singled to left to get Jose Ramirez to the dish to restore the 2-run disparity. Blake Swihart went deep in the fourth inning for a solo home run against Mike Clevenger. In the home half of the fourth, Lindor singled to help get a fourth run at the expense of Rick Porcello. The 4-2 Cleveland lead held until the top of the eighth inning when Andrew Benintendi's base hit to left field drove in Lynn and Jackie Bradley to tie the game at 4. Michael Brantley ended the game in the 11th with an RBI single to score Rajai Davis for a 5-4 victory. Tyler Olson improved to 2-1, while Drew Pomerantz dropped to 2-6. On Sunday, Cleveland were once again put to the test of an 11-inning marathon before a national audience in prime time. The Red Sox took advantage of a wild delivery by Adam Plutko, which allowed Mookie Betts to make it 1-0 in the top of the first. 2 innings later, Devers hit a ground ball, and the only place for Yonder Alonso to go was first base for the out. That play enabled Christian Vasquez to score. The Indians responded in the bottom of the fourth when Encarnacion's base hit to left got Brantley home against pitcher Hector Velasquez. Stephen Wright also found the Cleveland bats to be tough. Melky Cabrera drove in 2 more runs with a double. Like the past 2 nights, neither team could feel comfortable with a lead. Betts tied the game in the 5th with his 31st home run. The Indians missed some chances to win, but finally broke through from the bat of Greg Allen, allowing Ramirez to score the game-winning run. Josh Tomlin got his second win against 5 defeats, while William Cuevas remained winless at 0-2. Monday, the Tribe traveled to Guaranteed Rate Field and came away with a 4-0 shutout of the Chicago White Sox. Brandon Guyer homered off of Ian Hamilton in the 7th inning. Adam Rosales hit his initial home run in the 9th against Nate Jones to make it 2-0. A pair of singles, respectively, for Brandon Barnes and Encarnacion rounded up the scoring. Corey Kluber struck out 11 batters, only allowed 4 hits in 7 innings to go to 20-7. Andrew Miller got through the 8th to set up Cody Allen to finish the game in a non-save situation. Dylan Covey went 6 innings, but the loss ended up being on Ian Hamilton's watch, making him 0-2. Tonight, Trevor Bauer goes up against James Shields at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Tomorrow, Shane Bieber is scheduled to be on the hill. The regular season concludes with 4 games in Kansas City. First pitch on Thursday and Friday are set for 8:15. Saturday will start an hour earlier. Then Sunday, all teams across the major leagues will play at just after 3 p.m. as the regular season winds down. The Indians will be the visiting team for games 1, 2, and if necessary for the 5th game of the American League Division Series against either the Houston Astros or the Oakland Athletics, depending on who wins the West Division. Friday, October 5th will be Game 1. Game 2 will be on Saturday before the scene shifts back to Cleveland on Monday the 8th. If the series ends up going the distance, Game 4 is listed for Tuesday the 9th and Game 5 on Thursday the 11th. I think the team is playing well, and being under the radar behind the Red Sox and Astros may prove to be a blessing, as they will want to prove themselves on the big stage, that they will finish the task this time in the postseason. I was listening to the ESPN broadcast on Sunday night, and Jessica Mendoza and Buster Olney thought very highly of the chances that the Indians would be able to win the World Series. I think that Cleveland taking 2 out of 3 games over the weekend against Boston, who is having a special regular season, will give the Indians plenty of confidence going into October. The Cleveland Indians picked up their first victory since Christmas Eve of 2016 with a 21-17 decision against the New York Jets at First Energy Stadium last Thursday. It was a game of two halves as the offense punted on their first 6 series before Baker Mayfield took over for Tyrod Taylor, who picked up a concussion late in the second quarter with the score 14-0 New York and led the team back for a comeback win. Checking the NFL app to summarize the game, there were 3 and outs on each team's first possession. On the third possession of the game, Taylor got a 22-yard run on a 3rd and 10 to put Cleveland close to midfield. 3 plays later, the former Bills quarterback went deep for Antonio Callaway, but he appeared to be interfered with, but no call was made. It looked like a blessing in disguise because the second and third Browns defensive series started deep in Jets territory thanks to the leg of punter Britton Colquitt. After Quincy Enunwa got a first down for the visitors on the Jets' third possession, Myles Garrett sacked quarterback Sam Darnold on 3rd and long. The defense continued their fine form of this first month of regular season play. A good punt by Lachlan Edwards along with a holding penalty on the return by Denzel Rice created a change in field position. Cleveland failed to get a first down on possession number 4, and Kevin Pierre-Louis was able to get a piece of the ball on Colquitt's punt to set up the road team on the Cleveland 28-yard line. Enunwa caught a 16-yard pass on 3rd down, followed by back-to-back carries by former Cleveland running back Isaiah Crowell, the latter one going for 7 yards and a touchdown. Jason Myers made it 7-0 following the extra point. On the first play from scrimmage for the Browns in the next series, Tyrod Taylor underthrew a pass to Callaway that for what would have been at least a big gain deep into Jets territory, if not a touchdown. Instead, Trumaine Johnson had enough time to come back for the ball and knock it away in the early stages of the second quarter. Buster Skrine and Henry Anderson were able to sack Taylor 2 plays later to force another short series. The Jets got the ball back in good field position, and Bilal Powell ran for plays of 14, 8, and another 8. After that, Crowell got the majority of the touches the rest of the drive, capping it off with a 2-yard touchdown for his second of the game. The 6th Cleveland offensive series summed out how the first 28 minutes of the game went. A lot of good moments, but no breakthrough, causing the fans to be very restless. There were 3 incompletions, but an unsportsmanlike conduct on Johnson of New York kept the drive alive. Tyrod Taylor got a 9-yard run, only for it to be called back due to a hold by J.C. Tretter of the Browns, and unnecessary roughness by Johnson of the Jets for offsetting penalties. Jarvis Landry caught a 12-yard pass on 3rd and long to extend the drive. Carlos Hyde caught a pass for 5 yards, then ran for another 11, and Cleveland was in scoring range. However, Taylor got penalized for intentional grounding, then was sacked to force them to punt instead of kicking for a field goal. Taylor got a concussion and was done for the night. After the Browns' defense forced a 3 and out, it was time for Mayfield to come in and run the 2-minute offense with 1:42 left in the first half. Immediately, it was like watching a different game than what had previously taken place. It looked like Mayfield was wearing a Sooners uniform, and he was comfortable in his surroundings. The first play was a completion to Jarvis Landry for 14 yards, then a play of 17 yards to David Njoku, and Cleveland was already at the New York 35. Joel Bitonio had to bail out Baker on the next play as he recovered a fumble to keep the possession alive. On the next play, Mayfield went back to Landry for a gain of 16. The drive would stall as he could not connect with Callaway, but the Browns were rewarded with new place kicker Greg Joseph, who was able to get the ball to swerve through the goalpost from 45 yards out. The Browns did force a punt, but with poor field position, the only option was to sit on the ball with hardly any time left in the first half. After Rice got penalized on a special teams play following a Jets punt, Cleveland had to start their first series of plays of the second half at their own 5. Hyde was able to change the field position with a pair of runs. Njoku added a 19-yard reception. 3 plays later, Duke Johnson caught a 9-yard pass, but eventually the drive stalled, but the field position had flipped. The defense took advantage of the situation as Denzel Ward came through with another takeaway by creating and recovering a fumble, setting up the Browns at the Jets' 8. This time, Cleveland had to settle for a field goal, but now the deficit was only 14-6. After the defense rose to the occasion yet again, it was time for another test for the rookie quarterback. He and the offense clicked again as Rashard Higgins caught an 8-yard pass to start the series. 2 plays later, Mayfield found Landry for 16, then Hyde ran for 11. After Mayfield completed a short pass to Callaway, he went back to Landry for 29 yards. The 7-play drive was capped off by a Carlos Hyde 1-yard touchdown run to make it 14-12. On the initial 2-point conversion attempt, Mayfield was sacked, but offsetting penalties gave Cleveland another chance. Just like in Super Bowl 52 when quarterback Nick Foles caught a touchdown pass on a trick play dubbed the Philly Special, the Browns had their own version of the aforementioned gadget play. Jarvis Landry threw the ball to Baker in the end zone for 2 points, and the game was tied inside the final minute of the third quarter. New York responded with a 12-play drive as Powell got carries of 9 and 21 to get the ball in Browns territory. Jermaine Kearse and Enunwa had catches of 14 and 11, respectively, to help the Jets get in the red zone. Derrick Hendred made a tackle on Kearse at the 3-yard line to force 4th down to prevent a touchdown, and Myers made a field goal. The Browns fought back to tie earlier, but were down 17-14 with less than 9 minutes left in the game. After Mayfield threw incomplete to Callaway, Hyde got a 10-yard carry. 3 plays later on 3rd and 5 from the Cleveland 40, Baker found Johnson for 15 yards, but Higgins had to recover a fumble by Johnson to save the series. Rashard went for 19 on the next reception. Soon after, it was 3rd down from the Jets' 26, and Mayfield completed another pass, this time to Callaway for another 1st down. Hyde thought that he had a rushing touchdown on the next play, but Landry was called for an illegal block above the waist. The penalty did not faze the home team. Mayfield found Landry again for 12 yards, then Nick Chubb made it 1st and goal from the 1 after an advance of 6 yards. Though the Browns were stuffed on 2 running plays for no gain, I was happy to see the clock continue to move as it spun down close to the 2-minute mark. On 3rd and goal, Carlos Hyde was able to get in for a touchdown, and Cleveland was ahead for the first time. Still, with a 4-point lead, the game was not over yet. Darnold found Kearse on 4th and 10 for 12 yards to reach the New York 37. On the next play, Joe Schobert intercepted Darnold at the Jets' 43, and the Browns were close to finally tasting victory. The ball was handed off 3 times to Hyde to force the visiting team to burn all 3 of their timeouts, meaning that Cleveland needed one more defensive stand to officially end the nightmare of 19 straight winless games. After Darnold found former Cleveland receiver Terrell Pryor for a 25-yard gain to the Jets' 31, the Jets quarterback would be sacked after review overturned the original decision of an incomplete pass. With the clock ticking, Darnold would be picked off by Terrence Mitchell by the near sideline to ice the game with 11 seconds left. The celebration was on, and optimism reigned supreme, knowing that Thursday, September 20th, might be a day that is looked back fondly for Browns fans, as the night that the process of building the foundation to becoming a winning team started. Mayfield showed great leadership, and the team believed in him and were willing to make play after play to put Cleveland in position to win. Going forward, I expect there to be many great moments where Baker clicks and has good games. As a rookie, he will also have days where he will throw multiple interceptions and lose. It definitely is Mayfield's team. I only expect to see Tyrod Taylor if there is an injury or when a game is out of hand in the 4th quarter. I still think 6-10 is reasonable for this season. I think they will be in a lot of games. The defense will be strong as Larry Ogunjobi, Denzel Ward, Chris Smith, Myles Garrett, James Burgess, Jannard Avery all made a lot of plays in last week's win. The North Texas Browns backers will meet at Fox and Hound in Dallas this Sunday as the Browns will be in Oakland for a 3:05 p.m. Kickoff Central Time against the Raiders. Thanks to all of you who came out and braved the weather to witness the big win 5 nights ago. If you were unable to come last week, Fox and Hound is located on Midway and the Bush Tollway, so be sure to bring your family and friends. Your support is greatly appreciated. Kickoff is at noon Central Time as the Cleveland Browns, please check out the Facebook group North Texas Browns Backers page and hit the like button for the latest updates there. If you live outside of the North Texas region, please search to find a Browns Backers club closest to you. So again, kickoff 3:05 p.m. Central against the Raiders in Oakland. The text of this blog is available at http://www.mj BOLESTA 2 as in the number 2, blog.wordpress.com. I'm on Twitter at MJBOLESTA2, the number 2, and on Facebook at Michael Balesta. Archive videos on YouTube can be found by searching Michael Balesta Roman numeral 2. God bless. Have a great week and be safe.